sister friends, it's Terry from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush, and today we're going to paint a snowman. I'm using an 8x8 canvas. I love the gallery wrapped ones. They are more expensive, but I buy them from Blick Art Supply or from Michael's when they have them at 70% off. And they can stand on a ledge, they can hang on a wall, they can do anything. But I really like the thickness of them, and they're just my favorites. If that's not what you could use a 5x5 or a 6x6. And you could use an 8x10 or an 11x14 to do this same painting, and they don't have to be the thick ones. These came in like a 10 pack or something like that on sale, but this is my favorite, so that's what I'm going to use. I have a variety of brushes out, and my Art Philosophy oil pastels, and you can use any oil pastel, but these are my favorite. And I'm using mostly Blick acrylics. I just grabbed what I could get, but this is titanium white and Prussian blue. This one's Liquitex, but I still got it from the Blick website. This one's golden in teal. This one's golden in Van Dyke brown hue. I would rather have had like a burnt sienna or something like that, but I didn't have that down here and I didn't want to go upstairs, so we're going to try to use that one. And I really love this chromium oxide green, and for our little carrot nose, cad orange hue. And then we'll mix probably the brown with the white to get some other colors. Today's palette is a good old hefty paper plate, and you can do this on a tote bag or a pillow or whatever, and you can do it with your children or grandchildren. It's a fun project. So now let's get to the project. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, I got a little bit of water in a old can. First thing we're going to do is draw the basis of our snowman on here so that we can have that done. And I'm just going to go with the blue. Doesn't matter what color that you do that with. I love these because they work similar to like a watercolor, and when I put it on here, it'll just blend in with the other paint later on. I want him to take up most of the canvas. And let's see, he's got a hat on. You know, the old dude's got a hat on. And I'm going to go ahead and do my outside first, and I'm going to use my teal for that. A light blue would probably have been better. Okay, this is the teal. And of course you can make your own teals, adding blues and greens and things like that. I just happen to have this one for another project. And the titanium white is really good for being more opaque. Guess we can go ahead and load our palette up with all the colors that we're going to use. And it doesn't take very much. I really love using these heavy-bodied paints. You don't have to go back and put, you know, 3 or 4 coats to get it to show through. My patience level likes it too immediately. So now we have the Prussian blue. I would have used cerulean blue if I would have had that down here. We have the teal and have some titanium right there. We have the chromium oxide green, cad orange hue, Van Dyke brown, and more of the titanium white. There's not real big there, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this brush. This is from the Turquoise Iris collection from Paint Pixie, and it's an angle brush, and I loved it. And we're just gonna, let's get this extra white off of here. And just go ahead and, I'm gonna grab just a little bit of this blue and a little bit of this teal, hardly any white, and just to go around the edges real quick. And do that smooth if you want. See how it's picking up a little bit of our line from the oil pastels. Grab a little bit more blue, a little bit more teal, a little bit more white, and do it some more. I'm gonna go all the way around. I really love these paints because of the good coverage that I get from it. And if you want to thin them down because you like a thinner paint, you can. But sometimes when you want a thicker paint or you're wanting to mix with a medium or something, these are perfect for that, for adding more pigment without adding too much water. Although we can add water if we want. Here, as this goes out, I'm going to want to get a little lighter, so I'm just going to grab more of the white. Just grab a little more white to put on top. And this is just going to sort of frame around his face there. And always make sure to do your edges. I do them first. I'm going to dip in the water a little bit. The sides don't matter and they don't have to have as much coverage as the rest of it. So I usually water down a little bit so that I can work faster. Doesn't matter how you do it, I always just try to keep my brush strokes going in the same direction for convenience. The kind of swirling in of all three of the different blues. So I'm trying to not blend it too much and grab a little bit of each of these and the white. It's going to be wasting a little bit of paint here because I put too much out. But I will cover this with plastic wrap and use this palette again later today. I normally use a wet palette, and I just didn't have it in here with me. And with the wet palette, you put these paints on there, and it has like a sponge on bottom that you keep full of water, and then it has like a piece of waterproof paper, sort of like a parchment or something like that, that goes in on top of that, and then you put your paints on top of that. And I usually mist it before I close it up, but then the moisture from the sponge on bottom, and then the tight lid and all that, keeps the paint moist, so it's ready for you to use again and again, so you don't waste. A little more of the teal on there. Perfect. Rinse out my brush. I may just keep using the same brush for a while. I want to go ahead and get his face on real quick because that's going to be, well, I don't know what I'm opening that for. That's going to be white, but then we have, his eyes and nose and all that coming off of it. So I'm just going to grab another brush real quick. I got this from Blick when they had some on sale, but it is a very nice brush, probably a 3/4 inch angle brush. Going to grab this white right out of here because it's not going to matter if he has a little bit of blue on there. I'm trying to pull a little bit in from our and make sure and just always turn your canvas to what's most convenient for you. You don't have to get your arms all cockeyed and everything. This is a really fun painting to do with like the grandkids when they come over, because you can't hardly mess it up. And for them it could be Olaf or something. If you don't know who Olaf is, you might not have little granddaughters. But he's from Frozen. They could paint Olaf. And this will be something you could put out every single year with your Christmas supplies or your Christmas decorations or your winter decor. Doesn't matter how you put this on, but I like to give it just a little bit of texture by doing an X pattern. And what I'm going to do real quick right now is grab some of the Van Dyke Brown. Not very much, just a little. Grab some of this white that I used earlier. See, what I'm doing is just making a little bit of a muddy looking brown for shadowing. And now you could do this part with a larger brush if you wanted. I'm just staying with the one that I've got. Outline while I have it on my brush. I want it a little bit darker. I'm going to outline his hat and things. We'll be coming over that with the green in just a minute. This is outlining just like you did with, you know, your coloring books when you were a kid. We'll come in with some more of the brown here in a minute. And rinse off my brush a little and try to pull that in just a tad with some more white. See, I'm just kind of grabbing some and pulling it in, and then we'll blend that a little more as when we get in there. Don't want him to look dirty, but we do want him to look shaded. I'm going to grab another brush. Gives him a little bit of dimension, sort of, is what I think it does. Back to that other little brush. I was enjoying that one, the little angle. This is probably a 1/2 inch angle brush. Try to get most of the blue off. I've got the green out already. I'm gonna dampen it. And then just get a little bit of my green. Well, let's get his hat in. It's a little bit darker than I want. Grab some of this white. That's going to be a little lighter than I want. A little lighter, a little darker. So we're going to get some on here. Kind of going over the brown outline that I had there. We'll probably come back in with a little bit more of that. But for now, we're gonna use those straight lines. Get a little up there. We'll go a little darker along the edges. Different whenever you're working under lights like this, it kind of dries it out a little. Just sort of one time I'm grabbing my dark and the next time I'm grabbing my light. I'm not quite yet thinking about where my light source is coming in or anything like that. We're just sort of trying to make this hat a little more dimensional. Out brushes now. This is just a El Cheapo little flat brush that it looks like it's, because it's cheaper, it's going to be thinner, less thickness to the bristles, and I may be able to get a better line with it. What I'm going to do now is mix a little bit of my green with a little bit of the Van Dyke brown. This will be for the shadows of our hat. At the same time, I'm just sort of trying to flatten out my bristles. Make sure you can sort of see the definition of his hat. Dry brushing. Now my brush is dry. I don't have much excess water on it or anything. I'm just trying to build this shadow up a little bit while the paint's still damp. Now I'm shadowing over his face a tad, but not a whole lot. Why are snowmen always men? I guess snow woman was too long of a word. Snow girl, snow princess. Okay. Now I'm trying to go mostly into the green. To sort of show definition and help with the curves and all that of the hat. little angle brush. It's like it says Simply Simmons. I got this from Blick as well on sale. We're gonna try to put in his nose. Hope we don't smear through here. Just gonna do the best I can. We could have drawn this in with the pastels again if you don't want to freehand it, but carrots aren't perfect either, right? And neither should you try, by the way, neither should you try to be perfect in your painting. You always need to remember, if it was perfect, you may as well have a photograph. I'm trying to pull what green does come up from this sort of down into the carrot to give it some depth and dimension. If you didn't want that, then you let that part dry first. Doing this with craft paint, goodness gracious, the number of coats that it would take to go over this would be cray-cray. It would be cray-cray. Okay, I'm gonna rinse out this brush and get just a little bit of the, I didn't rinse it out good because I still want some orange on there, but I needed a little water on there. When the paint is thinner, when you water it down just a little bit, when you're trying to do like writing and signing your name or doing little bitty details and things like that, it helps a lot to, in fact, I think I'll probably change brushes. Let me do that. I love, love, love this set of brushes. And I have a link for these. I got it on Amazon, and I think they're in my Amazon store. If not, I'll make sure and put them there for you if you're interested in them. But make sure, okay, thin it out, and then just sort of roll your brush in it to make sure that you're getting a good pointed tip on your brush every time. And we're gonna try for me to not stick my hand down on there, but at least outline this a little bit in the brown. Maybe too dark. Let me just put some of the brown in here, in this orange. I don't want it to be too dark, but you know, I want the outline and the shadows to show. Just remember that you're not going for perfection. We're going for just a little bit of shadowing, just a little bit of, you know, a little bit of roughness or shakiness and things like that. Make it look more authentic. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. That's dry over there, mostly dry already, so I'm gonna lay my hand down. And this time we're coming down just the sort of shadowed side of this. The orange is definitely not dry yet. And then, you know, carrots have a little bit of kind of ridges in them. We're gonna put in a little bit of that to keep it looking round and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna take this, it's a little bit stiff, this round brush. This is another one I got off of Blick. I can't, something Dynasty, but I just like having a long handled one now and then, and I love the rounds. I'm gonna try to get just a little bit and then rub most of this off and come around here just a little bit better. with my shadowing. It's really, really dry. Well, we got a little orange on that. And a little more orange. We're going to go with it. Eyes, and you could do this in black. I didn't have black down here, so we're going to do it in the Van Dyke brown. And he's just a happy little guy, so let's just let his eyes be squinting. Make sure I'm rolling that in there good. Get myself a point. Just gonna go give him a little mouth. And each one will be, let's see if we're gonna come make him happy. Here's our littlest one. And our littlest one. These to be perfect circles because they're little hunks of coal or something. There is what they are. I forgot to dry brush any shadow down here. This Van Dyke brown just a little bit and sort of outline just here and there. Better about where his sort of his hat ends and the shadows start. Snow in the background, dropping here and there. Let's see if I can find a good. Here's another one of the liner brushes from that set. Or, I'll show you something else in just a minute. I want to get this good and thin right here. You can also use your Mr. bottle. You could also use Snow Tex. Did you get a good picture of that? There you go. Have a good look at that. That's from Deco Art. That's really hard to find right now at this time of the year. So I'm not going to show using it whenever you mostly can't get it. I think I have a couple here. If you need one, you can message me and I will check the price on it. Just getting it in the real thin. You can do it this way too. think this was the finishing touch. Like I said, your kids or grandkids will really enjoy doing this. There's no right or wrong. So, last thing you always do is make sure to sign it. We're going to sign it with this orange. A little bit of water in there. How I always sign mine is with a T. My grandkids call me T. And I usually put the year. And there we go. I would love to see a picture of yours. Make sure and let me know how that went. And if you did it with your kids or grandkids, I would love to know about it. And thanks.